possible. But today, in today's day and age, styles and the toxins in our environment and the lack of nutrients in our food, that's certainly not possible. And, you know, depending on where you live and what's going on in your life, that the possibility of doing that is to varying degrees for different people. But again, just supplements are an incredible healing tool. So I'm so excited for our discussion today and to help people understand many, many different aspects of supplements and what to look for. So I'd like to get started because I know that your journey into creating upgraded formulas started with some health issues for yourself. And that's oftentimes a lot of people have something that happened in their own life that then became the catalyst for their career change or their life path change. And I know something happened to you. So whatever you'd be willing to share with me about what was going on in your health, I'd appreciate that.
Certainly. Yeah, for anyone listening, have you ever experienced brain fog? And another word for that is, or another way to think of that is, why did I walk into this room again? This happens to people in all phases, men and women, all phases of life. It can be a result of mineral deficiency. It can be a result of heavy metal toxicity. It can be a result of your thyroid or adrenals not working well, which is typically a result of mineral deficiency or adrenal, heavy metals. For me, my mother died, and I was born to older parents, but still it was too young, in her 60s. And as much as I could, we're a really close family. And as much as I could be at peace with that, there was just no way that I could accept that was normal. We're talking about someone that, she had retired at that point. She had a very low stress level, very just quintessential life post-retirement, and something we would all kind of hope for. And, good relationships and everything. And then, just health issues compiling. And we just didn't have this root cause approach that we have now with upgraded formulas. That is one side of it. The other side is right around that time, possibly caused by that trauma, my memory started to slip, possibly caused by the stress of trauma. So stress always causes our body to run through all of our nutrients across the board faster. And that makes sense, right? Because as you're feeling these emotions, well, they have to come from somewhere. They need an energy source, right? So, for me, and I'd been an athlete, I'd been a football player, I'd played quarterback, and then I wrestled for just almost 10 years. All of that just meant that I had been sweating a lot since I was 5. Just really got to it early, and it didn't help. The other thing that conflicted was, in my personal case, unfortunately, I had a prescription went to a doctor, got prescribed for Vyvanse, which is a lot like Adderall. And this was, studying as a chemical engineer. That's what I got my degree in initially. I later became a nutritionist, but the real core of my lens was understanding what I was missing as an athlete, seeing patients later on as a nutritionist, and then having this lens as a chemist, chemical engineer, which was, heavy in physics, heavy in chemistry, heavy in math, basically a minor in all of those. And looking at what was missing, and then seeing my mother pass and seeing other friends and family of ours, it's like I was, even as a really young person, and as a teenager, I was seeing these people that were friends of mine too, that were friends of my parents first and foremost, pass in their 50s, sometimes in their 60s. And I could just tell there was such a root cause mistake, and that medicine was never going to fix the actual problem. It would just mask over things. And with that, it's kind of like taping over your fire alarm, or putting something over it so you don't hear it or see it. So I just started to think of this because as chemical engineers, more so than any other profession out there, we're designed not only to understand the chemistry, but to understand processes. So I finally did, as I was trying to figure out what was happening with my short-term memory, I'm thinking about it and I'm going, all right, at some point I'll be healthy enough. This is 3 a.m. in the morning here in Austin, Texas. I wake up, and this is the first time I lived in Austin after college. And I remember thinking, oh, well, that's it. That is it. I need to solve this. Like, because of those reasons that I just went through, this is why I need to really focus. This may be my life's work. Yeah. So, that was good. It also felt scary because, I was taking great quality supplements already. And I knew that the quality was not the problem. The quality, in other words, all right, so we're taking magnesium and it's exactly what we say it is, and it's free of heavy metals. And all right, I had that part covered. I knew since I was a teenager what good supplement brands were, and that just evolved more and more and more, so that by the time I was 23, 24, 25, I already knew all the quote unquote best brands. I experimented with so many of them. And I'd been taking, when I finally did a hair analysis, the first one I ever did, which is not as good as the ones we offer now on our site. But it's such an incredible tool and so actionable. I'm so thankful not only for the test, but for a really good interpretation of my results, which a lot of people just don't understand the details. From ours, you can tell thyroid function, adrenal function, metabolism, different things that are crucial. And it's all in one go. And so I take this test and I look at my levels and I go, and I'm just not someone to get upset very often, but I was furious. I was furious because for over a year and a half, I had taken 600 milligrams of magnesium 6 days a week, resting the body once a week. And what happened? I was chronically deficient in magnesium. And I always mention that one, but there were others. There's chromium. I was deficient in chromium. There's potassium. I was deficient in potassium. I wasn't taking that as regularly, but it just wasn't. And God, it was really frustrating. And if you're watching this, 96% of people have mineral deficiencies. In my personal practice, I've never seen someone that couldn't benefit from optimization of their levels, either increasing their mineral status or balancing their key ratios, which affect, the things I just mentioned: thyroid, adrenal, your iron to copper, your hormones, your zinc to copper, your rate of inflammation, iron to copper, all these different things. Just doing that with blood is so expensive and so not accurate compared to, plus you're going to a lab, plus you're getting stuck with a needle. So I felt like I'd figured out part of the equation, but the other part was just as daunting. It's like, oh my God, I mean, who and what the hell do I do now? And if you're watching this, good luck if you take a test and you try to take regular mineral supplements and change your levels. Good luck. Your symptoms are going to stay. I've already been there. So if you're like, all right, cool, I got the answers, I'll just buy whatever supplements. Wrong. It's not going to work. It didn't work for me. It hasn't worked for any of our patients. Some have taken our advice and we offer consultations now, trained a nutritionist to handle all of that for us. She does a great job, and most of the time, I'd say above 95% of the time, people take the recommendations. However, just this is why you want to. So because I care, because I've been through so much of that, I have to really emphasize that, because there's no other way that I can understand as a chemical engineer, as a chemist, as a nutritionist, than giving your body what it needs in a way it can actually use it. Because when we don't have those, I know you've seen this too, Elaine, like when we don't have these crippling mineral deficiencies, and they really are crippling, then we can really make progress in our life. But we just don't really have the mental or physical energy. Everything seems like a slog. And then we're more apt to turn to sugar, alcohol, caffeine, which any guesses what that does for, if you're watching this, what do you think that does to your mineral status? Unfortunately, each one of those depletes mineral stores like crazy.
Those are stimulating, and having trouble with my words, help push people through the slog, the brain fog, all of that, but they further deplete the minerals. So it's fixed kind of say, which makes the underlying problem even worse.
Right.
Just want to go back and highlight a little bit more, like from a chronological piece. You were an athlete, you had sweat a lot, you were using up a lot of minerals. And
for decades, for decades.
Throughout your life, excuse me. And then you started experiencing symptoms associated with that, as well as losing your mom at the same time. And you were on the chemical engineering path. And because you're using supplements and you got that test, and you were, I'm sure, like furious to find out that those weren't doing what you thought they were doing, you started all those pieces together. You were looking for a solution for your health. You wanted to understand, based on, again, understanding the processes that you were taught in the chemical engineering, why that was so. And this has led you to the path that you are on now of creating upgraded formulas and the mineral formulas that.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly.
So let's get into that a little bit more, because your formulas are different. So let's talk about what's different about your formulas, and then we can also go into, as you had mentioned before, like for anybody listening, where they're aware that they have mineral deficiencies or suspect that they do, and they go out and buy a supplement, and then they'll probably be very disappointed because it doesn't fix the deficiency the way that it's intended to. So let's start covering those kind of things, starting with what's different about upgraded formulas.
Sure. There's a number of different things that are different about our products. First is that, we third-party test every single batch for purity and potency. But so that from a safety standpoint, I really want to cover that base. It's, all sourced all U.S., which is not the case for, unfortunately, too many supplements. And when you source them from places like China, good God, you get heavy metals often that are in there as well. It's just not tested, not reported, not tested per batch. The real gold, though, of what we do is it's just a different process, so that for the layperson, without giving a whole tutorial in thermodynamics, fluid mechanics, heat transfer, and just so many different processes, we're able to essentially have our process digest these minerals for you, so that when you take them, they're small enough and also stable enough to sit in a suspension. That if you buy our liquid, I'll show you our liquid magnesium. So this is upgraded magnesium. You can see it says liquid nano minerals. This is key. Nano is a unit of measurement, 10 to the minus 9, and it is, so in and of itself, it doesn't mean anything. There's other companies that use this word. They've started to use this word in the past couple of years. I can't speak to what they're doing. I just know that our process is unique. And ultimately, without digestion, you can still absorb these minerals, which is pretty incredible. Now, granted, if you're taking our capsule products, you have to digest the capsule obviously. Or you can take it out of the capsule, put it in a glass of water. So men or women, they're experiencing, or I should say women or men, they're experiencing, say, cramps, whether it's PMS or just leg cramps. You can take apart a capsule, pour it in a glass, and then and I've actually done this at Todd and Cole's for someone once. I just happened to have some. They had a severe cramp, like tears rolling, like probably a worse cramp than I've personally ever had. And I just went and got 2 capsules, pulled them apart, boom, said, give it 5 minutes, it's going to be gone. And it was. Magnesium is a very alkalizing mineral. There's no real substitute for it. A lot of people, from an enzymatic standpoint, things that only use magnesium are in the hundreds. 700 to 800 enzymatic functions now use just that one mineral. So that's, I mean, we can talk about for days, just those specific ones. But what I realized is that the process had to be such that it had to produce a final product that when you consumed it, it didn't matter if you had leaky gut or not. Obviously that wouldn't help anything, but most of us have some level of poor digestion. So that's really the problem that we solve is, and we give you the confidence of it. We say, just take our test before and after if you want to, and then you can see some validity. We had one woman recently, that I will tell you, her levels didn't change very much, but she did go from running, not running, hadn't run in years, back to running about 75 miles a week, which is quite a bit for, by my standards. So of course she was burning through her stores.
I was just going to say, she was probably utilizing it.
Yeah.
So because she was such a considerable athlete, she wasn't able to actually rebuild what was in her body because she
right.
did it too quickly.
She was just and that's what, there's so many people out there that are going, wait, I don't feel lazy. I just don't, I feel like I don't have the energy. Like I truly don't at a cellular level have the energy, right? So in her case, that's how she was having to kind of doubt this about herself, which is a terrible place to be. And I've been there too, which is just, I mean, is tomorrow going to be different? And like, what am I going to do? I can't keep increasing my dose of alcohol. I'm in bed for 9 hours. I'm sleeping enough. How do I improve sleep efficiency? I'm already doing an eye mask. I'm already doing blackout curtains. I'm already syncing my circadian rhythm. I'm already reducing blue light, and my sleep's just not great. And it turns out that you're most likely not absorbing the magnesium that you are taking, for example. I don't want to make everything about magnesium, but it's one
Right.
important area, and it's a great example. So
You're using it as an example, and magnesium deficiencies are really common. Certainly I find about every one of my clients, at least in the initial phases of their healing.
Exactly.
So I just wanted to recap what you said, because one of the things that makes your products so special is because they're already pre-digested. So if you would to think from the beginning of how you would normally get nutrients from foods you eat, first you have to let it go through your digestive tract. There's a lot of enzymatic functions that are happening down in there. A lot of particles are getting broken down into smaller pieces. And then there's all kinds of absorption that needs to be taking place, so multiple like transactions, so to speak, that need to happen before that mineral is even getting into the body. And then whether or not it's in the size or the form that your body can use it, that's still questionable based on the quality of food and what was in there to start with. So that bypasses all of it. You put it into your system and your body can just put it to work right away. Does that kind of summarize?
It really does. There's a certain aspect of our process that I can't go into too much detail about, but it also ensures stabilization of the particles. So you have these mineral particles, and they're used to the extent that they can get into the red blood cell without digestion and be utilized by the mitochondria. People often feel more relaxed too when they take our magnesium within 10 minutes. pretty profound. But your cells are actually finally, most of us are not relaxed or therefore we're stressed because our cells just aren't functioning at a high enough efficiency. And we can feel that energetically. We feel that lack of energy in our bodies. And it's such a common problem that people come to us with. It's constipation, it's headaches. It's, to a certain extent, the thyroid's not working. It's, so much of it though it comes back to getting your minerals right, because you can do all the detox protocols in the world, and we have some detox products on our site that we recommend. They're from another brand that people can check out at upgradeformulas.com. But it's so interesting to think about how we overlook our elimination processes. That we rush through, like going to the bathroom, or that we don't take enough of, say, magnesium, potassium, that actually helps us with bowel movements from a mitochondrial standpoint. Just giving those muscles what they need so they can actually move, because that way we're actually eliminating, and we're not having to clean up situation at a cell level. That toxicity gets re-ingested. So yeah, I really think of it as those two areas, toxicity and mineral status, really being it's certainly, you're expert in hormones. I'm sure you'd agree, when it comes to building blocks of hormones, minerals are a key part of it.
Absolutely. Right. And I want to touch back on the detoxification, because it comes up so frequently. I hear people, I'm going to do this cleanse,
right?
And the concept of a cleanse is fantastic, but
right.
Like, hold the fort for a second, because first of all, what I always tell people is, well, you want to be living a clean life as much as you can, so that you're not building up toxins in your body, because
right.
Our body can only handle so much toxins. And so if your life is clean, then you're decreasing the potential of overwhelming your system.
Yeah.
And then, a lot of these cleanses, well, there's some really good ones on the market. So this, just a generalization, but there are also some that just force detoxification pathways, which means your body's going to dump a lot of toxins that it's been storing. And just like you said, if you're constipated or your elimination pathways aren't moving the way they should, those toxins are just going to get reabsorbed. So you could be flushing them out of the kidney or the liver or the cells of your body. And if they're not going to exit the body, mainly through urine or feces, then the cleanse isn't going to have the effect that is intended.
Yep.
Stir up more toxins that it has pulled out of skin tissue or fat tissue or things like that, and overwhelm the body. So I've seen a lot of people, and they can feel really, really terrible. They get sick, vomiting, headaches, all that kind of stuff. So again, not like the concept of cleanse is good, but the way that people go about it is sometimes a little convoluted. So
certainly.
To touch base on that, because toxins can definitely interfere with function for sure. And minerals, of course, is one of the things that can facilitate the normal functioning or detoxification pathways of the body, so your body can keep detoxifying on a daily basis without your noticing or having to take intentional action to have it happen, or to have unintended consequences like not feeling good, because your body should always be detoxing on its own. I want to touch a little bit about the nano, because I know that's one thing. So when I first got exposed to hearing you talk about nanoparticles, and it's one of the reasons why that your minerals work so well, is because the nano, again, like you said, is just a size, and it's really, really tiny. It's very easy to penetrate the cells and get into where it needs to be. I know that some people are using, or my perception has been that some people are using nanotechnology in harmful ways. So I don't know if you can speak to that at all, because I know that's not what you're doing, but it helped me because I'm a little confused about that.
Yeah, frankly, I can only speak to what we're doing and our application of it. I'd studied nanotechnology a bit in college and was preparing to work with Cornell on a project, actually, across universities. And we ended up scrapping that project, but my interest always increased, or always stayed, I should say. It increased because of that. And it's really the future of medicine, and certainly the future of nutrition as well. Yeah. So I don't remember specifically if you mentioned something that you're saying there, but no, I can't necessarily speak to it, unfortunately, without, a lot more specifics and maybe researching it myself.
Yeah, so let's leave it with the caveat. Like, you guys are doing a good job and a healthy thing with the way that you're using nanotechnology, but like everything, there are other people who are not using it in healthier, beneficial ways. So if you hear about nanoparticles, like in relation to skincare products or something like that, you just want to kind of have your ears trigger something and be asking the question, are they using this technology in a safe way or not? Because like you said, it's a really, really tiny particles, so it's very, very easily absorbed. So if you're using a toxin or something like that in a nano form, the body can be absorbing that in a way that is really healthy for you. So, I want I got that triggered in my brain. So I just encourage people to trigger them and not just assume that it's safe, even though I know you guys are using it in a really beneficial way.
Yeah, you can just feel our products work. You can feel the iodine warm your vascularity. I don't know if you can see this vein on my hand. I used to not be vascular like this, but our iodine and our peak thyroid are something that I've taken for years now, and it really restored. I grew up when I was being watched as a kid at age 3, 4. Parents at work, and just during the day, I was exposed to cigarette smoke. Now, a lot of people are exposed to some sort of environmental toxin. Maybe it's because you live in a big city. Maybe it's because you live on a farm, but you're inhaling diesel smoke often from, tractors. The point I make in those two examples is that we don't really get away from it, no matter where we are. The other thing, though, that triggered this thought was you mentioning skincare. And skincare for men and for women seems to focus on, let's make you look great now, and we won't even worry about or think about the future. And if we are, then we're just going to tell you some kind of blissful thing. But the truth of it is that fragrances have hundreds of toxins to get that fragrance. And those are usually made by chemists and chemical engineers. Just like the dash of your car, there's so many toxins there as well. That's also made by chemical engineers. We understand process. And for that reason, anything that is, synthetic or something, we've, as a whole, designed. Yeah, it's really interesting. I would say one of the biggest steps to health is reading about how to just cleanse your environment that you can control, your car, your house, without being dogmatic, without being afraid, without being overthinking and oversensitive. Believe me, that's not health either. That's jail. And I don't want to travel there because they won't have this. And it's like, look, outside of them having, severe levels of mold or something, you got to just live your life, and certain things are going to happen, but knowing how to bring yourself back from something really helps you lean into living a great life. So.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And the point that you said about personal care products, there can be a whole host of ingredients that they're regulated and tested for safety, and that's not true. So you can be using a product that can definitely have some topical benefits and some immediate shifts in your skin, but if there's chemicals in there that can accumulate in your body, and the long-term effects are going to be the exact opposite of the reason why you started using that product in the first place.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree with that for sure. And about living your life and doing the things that you want to do as well, and living as non-toxically as possible, but then not being afraid, because when you're taking really good care of yourself, you develop a level of resiliency that through those limited, those short-term exposures. Like, if you live out in the country or something and you're eating really clean and you go to New York City for a month or something like that, you're going to be exposed to a lot more toxins than on your day-to-day basis. But because your body's strong and healthy going into it, you're probably going to be able to eliminate them a lot more easily than somebody who's eating junk food and drinking alcohol every day. And, I don't mean to point my finger at the people who are making those choices, but, just to give examples of things that are toxic to the body and slow down processes.
Right. Yeah, we have to really take a hard look at what slows down our detox pathways.
Yeah.
And what blocks things off, because it's having a log jam. If you picture a river, we've all seen, video of log jams, right? Where they cut trees and float them downstream. Having too many trees in the river at once and causing that log jam is about as bad as not having enough water, right? That's one way you can think of mineral deficiency and heavy metal toxicity. The minerals are the water, they're the flow agent, they're the provider, they're the actual real source. And trees, which are normally a great thing in this case, become an enemy to themselves and the river, right? The river is you. The river is your body. It's an example I've never given before, but it's something I just thought of as you said that, and it's certainly very, pretty spot on. Pretty spot on.
Things can get locked up in the system for sure.
Yeah, it's we've got to get the bad stuff out. We've got to let that flow, and I really believe that. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, so we've been talking a little bit about putting less toxic things in, so living a clean lifestyle, and then using really high quality supplements in addition to eating healthy to give the things that we're not getting enough of from our food so that our bodies can continue to work the way they're meant to. Now, alluded to the fact already that a lot of products do not meet the promises that you would expect from them. And so there's different forms of minerals and different sources of ingredients. For instance, when I first started taking supplements, I was taking different vitamins, and I was having some really beneficial results from them, but then I kind of plateaued. And so I got really deep into questioning what was going on there. And when I actually discovered the source of where most vitamin supplements come from, I was floored and horrified, because most of them are made in a lab, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but they're not made from food. And they can be made from chemical ingredients like petroleum byproducts and genetically modified corn. And I'm speaking more about vitamin supplements per se.
Yeah. She's not talking about minerals for anyone listening. Minerals are elemental. So
well, I was just going to ask and turn it over to you, because I was talking more about vitamin supplements, but supplements are different. So because you have expertise in that area, I'm asking you to bring us into what do we need to look for, how are minerals made, what are the sources of them, how do we know that we're choosing supplements that have the kind of sourced ingredients or the forms of minerals that our bodies can actually utilize so that we're getting the results that were intended?
That's a great question. Yeah. Really for 99% of people, it's understanding a brand you can trust, because every supplement's different. Every formulation is different. Every product is different. They'll all be sourced in different places. They'll all be sourced from different things. They'll all be sourced in different times, even times of the year, times of the season. It's just too much, and it changes too often, frankly, to really get into that. I don't see an easy way of explaining that, unfortunately.
Other than,
but vitamins are, God, it's so true. Vitamins. Why would you want to make a vitamin in a lab when you can get it from, proven extraction method from food, and then test it? Well, the reason is cost, availability. It's easier to synthesize two cheap ingredients and then make vitamin C, which is one way to make ascorbic vitamin C, than actually getting vitamin C from whole foods. I think the other thing that's probably more important or as important to really think about here is, why are we really having this conversation in the first place? Well, if our food had, which means if our soil had the nutrients that it needs to provide us with the nutrients we need, probably wouldn't even be having this conversation. But the problem is or the reality is we've gone from something like 18 inches of topsoil on average to about 2 or 3 on average across the US, and unfortunately so many places around the world. And there are some really intelligent people working on this. I have a friend that's working on this, 2 friends actually. That's a longer term solution. It's not going to be available today, tomorrow, to help you with your fatigue because you're eating, bell peppers or artichokes or anything else that you've been told was good for you. And I'm not saying to eat that or not eat that, although I avoid lectins. Just they don't have the nutrients, just flat out, I guess, to not make it too long-winded. So key supplementation, where you're testing first and then figuring out, okay, wow, got it. Okay, this is what we need to do. This is what I need, my personal body, not my genetics, not which tell the story of what should be, what could be, but the story of what is or what has been for the last 4 to 6 weeks. That is what appropriately done hair analysis offers. So yeah, I would say pick a brand, to answer your question, pick a brand you can trust, that you spend a lot of time researching, and just hope and believe a little bit, and also scour the website, and also ask customer service if you need to, if you feel like you need to go that far. Whenever you pick out a new product from them, I mean, that's your right. You can do all of that. You can also waste a lot of time doing all of that when you could have just been working on some other aspect of your life that really was what you needed to work on. I see that all the time in patients too. It's like, well, it's like if you're this hyper focused in the other area of your life, your business coach or your life coach would be a lot happier. It's like we all procrastinate in so many complex ways. It's crazy. I've done that. I've seen so many people that I care about procrastinate in so many different ways. And one of the ways we procrastinate is, I wonder what I should supplement. So I just try to reduce that burden for people. Just bring it way, way, way down. And like, what does the body really need? And you work with this from a slightly different aspect, but what does the body really need is something that is a real practice of yours too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I can see why people would get hyper-focused if they're having a health concern and trying to sort it out.
Yeah.
And
sure.
then there's the other people who are just, randomly reading an article and be like, oh, that sounds like it would be good for me, or it might be my symptom. So I'm going to try that without understanding the quality. So there's two sides, and then there's other people that their health is completely off their radar. And even if they have a major health crisis, they don't realize that their choices were part of what led them to that crash or whatever happened.
Right.
Addressing what you said about, getting tested and getting what you need. I'm a huge fan of that, because we also have this like mentality that one size fits all.
Right.
And yes, we all need minerals. What we're getting in our food, what our body is absorbing, is going to be vastly different for everybody and at very different times. So it's going to vary. So I'm a huge fan of customization, not only with food choices and personal care products, but also in supplementation. And that's why I do the work that I do in the way that I do it, because I'm working individually with people. I'm muscle testing them. I'm determining what's not going well in their bodies. And then their body is specifically choosing what they need and for the time period that they need it. So it's specific to what's going on with them, and there's a time limit on it, so to speak, for most things that, we need to fix this, and then we'll see if you need to continue with this. Or there's some things like vitamin D that people need to continuously supplement because we're not outdoors enough and we don't have enough in our food supply kind of ever. But there are other things that are part of a healing process or just short term. So I'm always encouraging people to choose to work with some type of a practitioner or testing that will allow them to have that kind of understanding of what's going on with their body and customize their approach. And I know that's what you do as well, because you're a huge fan of the hair mineral analysis test, which you also offer on the Upgraded Formulas website. It gives a lot of information, and then people adjust their mineral intake so they're not overdoing it. They know exactly what to take. They're taking the synergy of minerals in combination to bring their levels up to optimal. Would you say that that's a good explanation of how that works?
That's a good explanation of how that works. Yeah, certainly. Thank you for that. And
how often do you encourage people to do the testing in order to, if the hair mineral analysis is something they're interested in doing, how often do you recommend that people are different?
Yeah, it's a great question. We also have consultations. Both of those, I would do a test and a consultation so that you get the full value of your test, because believe me, when I say you won't get the full value of your test otherwise. And then you'll probably end up spending that time and money on getting, your adrenals tested or your thyroid tested. And you may want to double check that, but it's just way easier to get some of the data that's reliable and it's right there in front of you. 90 days, every 90 days, until the problems lessen. And then you can start to space it out more. But quarterly is not too much to ask, because it's very affordable. You can do a whole year for less than what you'd pay for a set of tires for your car. And I think your health is more important than that. So we brought the cost way down on that. And we really just encourage people to take the discount, get on subscription after they have their results, and stay on that until they get their next result package in, right? So yeah, just, you can take hair from the scalp. You can do underarm, you can do pubic. Guys can do chest hair as well. And we have a scale, we have a video on the site, on the page, that can show you exactly how to do that. I walked through it myself and shot it with our team here in Austin. Just recently we shot a new one and uploaded that because we have a new kit that's really nice from an instruction standpoint. But you can just watch the video and that's all you have to do. And no one else has offered this level of service. So it's really good.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I just wanted to highlight again, you're doing something that's very affordable. It can really help people tremendously. And I think it was last week, I released a post to my community about that whole perception, what you just said, that comparison. It's less than the cost of a pair of tires or a set of tires. And we have this perception, I think, or a lot of people do, that, if it's not covered by insurance, they're not going to invest in it, so to speak. But to spend a small amount of money to keep up with your health is just, priceless. And it's not just for people who are having a health concern or a health crisis. It's for keep staying well, and for vitality, because your body is your life. Without it, nothing else happens. And I was really, really ill for about 20 years of my life. And since I've gotten well, the amount that I have been able to continuously expanding my health has just blown me away. So I'm a huge proponent of trying to share that message. Like, yeah, you think you're okay, and you might be, but you could be so much better. And who wouldn't want that for a small amount of money?
Yeah, exactly. People listening to this should really think about, how much you're investing in your health as an investment category for all of your personal finances. Because that investment that you make, I promise there will be a ROI, or a return on the investment. It's true. Your energy, if you're going to have more clarity and have more energy to stick with that, workout program, with more ease, to stick with that meditation program, to stick with the journaling, to stick with going on vacation and rewarding yourself, to stick with being able to have a glass of wine, enjoy it, and not feel super depleted because you had nutrients that you could replace, because you've been taught over the last year or so through several different consultations, through several different tests, every 90 days, to just really dial in on your health and start to begin to live optimally. Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of that word as well. I use that. And I don't think most people know what that is. And I'm not sure that I've hit optimal yet, but I still, like, I feel like I get younger every year, which is the opposite of what people. I'm in my 50s. People my age are usually declining and thinking it's normal, and that's what's supposed to happen. And I just get stronger and healthier every year. It's mind blowing and fantastic.
Yeah. It's doable. It really is. You know, and when we take people back from a place of dis-ease, from a place of having their levels be really catastrophically low or all of unbalanced, it's amazing what happens, because all-cause mortality is directly connected with low mineral status. So as you start to reverse mineral status, you get a reaction like what you're talking about, which is just like me. I mean, I feel physically more capable, mentally more capable at 33 than I did at 22. And just so much more sure of myself, so much more, it's so interesting. So, you know, I've put about a decade of work into this, and that's just if you count when I've really started to work on it. But it's more like 14 years. But because the whole process started when I started in chemical engineering. So it seems like, oh, you know, I've achieved this at a fairly young age, but I get that often, and it's great to hear. But it's like a lot of things, you know, success is not achieved overnight. And it's true for health as well as anything you pursue as a career. You know, it's going to take a while. You're going to put in your reps. You're going to learn. You're going to seek to grow from masters and people that really seem to have knowledge. And then it's still going to take so much effort, so much grit, so much determination. If I didn't have a huge why, which is increasing longevity for people, so that and effectiveness, so that they can, show up in the world in a way that allows them to be better mothers, fathers, children. Anyone at any age can benefit from these solutions because they're root cause, and we're only looking at what you're missing, and helping you improve that. So it's not going to show any nasty results of like, oh, you're somehow failing at things. Just shows you where you can improve, which is just so helpful, right. So inspiring.
And what can happen in order to make things even better and get to a more optimal state. Yeah. I love your why, the longevity in that too. A lot of people argue with me sometimes, like, our life expectancy has increased, and then my counter argument is yes, but the quality of life for so many people is decreasing, and that's a tragedy considering, the affluence, the great minds, the things that we have in this day and age. It's unacceptable that people are experiencing that. But of course, everybody has to take personal responsibility for themselves. But more tools are becoming available every day, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm so thankful for the work that you do. So thank you so much, and thank you for your time today. And I just want to let everybody know, upgradedformulas.com, correct?
Yeah, exactly. That's the best place for people to go. We also, I should have mentioned this earlier, but we also donate to charity water. This is another big part of our why. 100% of donations to charity water, which we donate for you through your purchases, a percentage that's growing. We're looking to drill entire wells with them soon. It's solving a root cause solution as well. When people have clean water, they don't develop disease nearly as quickly, if at all. because so therefore doctors don't have to take their vacation just to remove tumors from people's faces, which is common from, like, say, mercy ships, for example. So the reason why Charity Water exists is a similar why, which is, let's solve the problem at the root so we can reduce suffering. The reason I feel like I'm here on this planet during this time is to reduce suffering for people as much as I can. And there's, I get chills just saying that, but it's true. I've at a young age, I've just pushed, I've said yes to so many challenges, and with that has come obstacles. And in pushing through that and giving people tools now to avoid the suffering, the questioning, the wondering if this is going to be better, wondering if you're going to have more or less energy tomorrow, and where you stand in your health, like that's what we do. It's why we do it. And I thank you, Elaine, for this chance to just spread the word. And you can find so much more in Upgrade Formulas. But yeah, thank you for watching this too. I personally really appreciate it. So.
And like you said, one of the things that my mission is so people can be their individual best, because I feel like we all have unique gifts and talents, and by enhancing those,
right,
just expands the exponential ability of everybody to change the world for the better. Because we have, I've heard I'm sure I've heard it before, but just recently it stuck in my head. There are no problems, there are solutions. And the people that are coming up with solutions, they need to have strong bodies and strong minds, and it's going to be for, not everybody has a positive intent, but so many people do. And by helping those people step up in the world and do what they're meant to do, it makes it a better place for all of us. So I think a lot of entrepreneurs these days are on that same kind of mission, and it's a beautiful thing what everybody's doing, and really, really needed, of course. And I am also a product user and a fan. I got the capsule magnesium and used that, and I really liked it. But I also got the peak thyroid formula, and there's something about that peak thyroid formula. I don't know, energetically, it's just like, oh, I need to go take that. And it's not feel like I'm down or anything, or feel like a dramatic change, but like my body just craves it. So
wow,
that's why I reached out to you, and I'm so excited.
I put so much into that, to both of those, but into the peak thyroid. Yeah, so thank you for saying that.
I can't wait to get some more and do some more experimenting. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of supplements. I'm always looking for good things, because there's a lot of supplements on the market, but most of them are inferior quality. And grateful days like yours are up and rising. There are a few others that I have been really keeping an eye on, and there's some really stuff going on out there. So it's super, super exciting to see.
It's really cool. For anyone that's watched this far, I can give a 10% off or something, a code if you want. So you guys can use, just so saying thanks, investing in yourself is, it's such a, as we talked about, it's such a big aspect, like choosing yourself in life again and again. I think about it so much. So it just a nudge to choose yourself. You can save 10% at checkout, whether or not you get the subscription, by using code Barton10. That's BARTON and 10, all caps, all one word.
Okay,
and you can post that and share it with as many people that, if you're getting this via email or anything else. Just want to say thanks, because we all just need to choose ourselves more in a good way. So
agreed. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.